Hi everyone, this is Trish Kendall, your host for the Choose and Become interview series. People around the world ask me to share more of my journey to enduring success, more stories, more of my lessons, more of my experiences. There's only so much I can share during an inspirational speech or while facilitating a workshop or even through blogs. So here you go. In these Trish Kendall Speaks episodes, I give you short, impromptu, candid, raw me. Come along with me as I continue my journey to enduring success. So, but you said, she was like, but I'm not doing it. I'm like, okay, I hear you. I got it. So that was Sunday. Yesterday was Monday. I picked her up from the horses from the barn at school. And we not always, but a lot of times we'll eat at the cafeteria because Dana Hall has all the food and stuff. So when we were going to the cafeteria, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. How was your TED Talk? And she's like, Mom, it was great. I was really confident. I didn't look at my speaker notes the whole time. I feel really good about it. And I was like, great, awesome. And I was secretly hoping that she would say, and I decided to, and I did the question opening, the pet opening, but I knew she didn't. And she was very clear that she was not going to do it. And so I was disappointed inside that she didn't try and that her courage and confidence was hit. I don't even know if these are the right words, but that her fear of whether that's rejection or what people might say about her, or what this one person might say, or her fear of showing up in a little bit of a different way than outside of this safe, sterile box was greater than like her desire and ability to, I guess, show up outside of this sterile little box. And then the other thing is there was a point in the presentation that she makes, she creates a vivid equivalent. And that's something else I talk to teams about. But when you're telling a story, and there's all these data and numbers, like what do those what does that data and numbers mean? Like I can't comprehend what 500 kilograms is. And so like this snake that was found, this new species of anaconda, 500 kilograms, which is actually 1,000 pounds, which like, what's 1,000 pounds? That's how much my horse weighs, so like that creates this vivid equivalent. And then the other one was the difference between the southern green anaconda and the northern green anaconda. The genetic differences is 5.5%. And the article she read said 5.5%. Here's what a big deal that is. The genetic difference between a human and a chimpanzee is only 2.2%. I was like, that's awesome. That's an awesome vivid equivalent. What if you put a picture of a teenage girl and a teenage chimpanzee? And so when you make that point, you're like, what a big difference 5.5% is? And then you've got this. So she's like, yeah, let's do it. This was on Sunday. And so we did it and we created it. We did these pictures and she loved it. So when she was in my car, we were talking about it. I was like, okay, I'm going to shift from she opened in her, safe way that felt really safe to her. And I'm going to ask her about the picture of the teenager, the chimpanzee. And I was like, well, how is the picture of the chimpanzee? And she goes, Mom, I chickened out. I deleted the picture. And I could just feel my disappointment for her. And I knew she could feel it. And so I reset. We went to the cafeteria, had dinner. And then when we came out, and she did all of her homework with her friend there. And when we were going back to the car, I just talked to her, what does chicken out mean? And she's like, I was afraid to show the picture because it was outside of the template And I was afraid of what some people would think. And who's some, what's some? What does SOME mean? No, gets to this one person. And I was like, okay. And then I had to realize and recognize and admit to her in that moment that I know she's holding on to two forces of, I'm going to say, not anxiety, but maybe fear, or what's causing her to be anxious or stressed. Two forms of stress. One is if I do something that's outside, what I think is outside of the box, how is this person going to react to me about that? So she's holding on to this stress. And then she's holding on to the stress. I have to tell my mom that I didn't use the picture, or that I didn't do the opening, although she was very clear she wasn't going to do the opening. And so so I know she was holding on to this stress. I didn't say all those words with her. But when we were walking, I put my arm around her and I said, Lily, I am proud of you and I love you always. And I know you did a great job presenting your TED Talk, period. When you reflect on, I chickened out. When you reflect on what that is, I just want you to be aware of what that meant to you. And had you used the picture, what might have happened, and you didn't use the picture and what happened, just reflect on that, just be aware. And I said, but for me, I know that you're holding on to, and I got to tell my mom, and I love you, and it's okay. As long as I feel that I've given you the opportunity to make an informed and confident decision, you'll make the decision. And I support you and love you and I'm proud of you always. And, and it's hard. And like, I've been reflecting on this since this was last night. I've been reflecting on this with her fear of one girl's reaction is bigger and stronger and heavier than her, like fear or thinking about her, like disappointing me or hurting me. But mostly this little 13, 14-year-old girl, could have elevated the experience for the class and the teacher and her and all of that, but didn't. And that is okay. It's okay. Because maybe another time she'll make a decision that does stretch her boundaries, does stretch her learning and her growth and her comfort. And I will support her every step of the way. So I can't wait to see what grade she got on this TEDx. Oh my God, this is like probably one of the most important things. So, but then she says to me in the car, she's like, Mom, I think that people were really intrigued by this new snake. And she goes, and I saw this person, this girl who she's worried about, she looked up the snake. She was looking up the snake on Google. I was like, you saw that? How do you know? She's like, I saw her do it. I saw her look it up. And I was like, great job. Awesome. So that's my story. If I can put in a nugget here for us to wrap this up, which is each of us has to make decisions. Some of those decisions are small. Some of those decisions are big. But we make decisions and choices that perhaps keep us within our safe, sterile box. And that's okay because that's safe and it feels better, but it probably doesn't feel at all. And there will be times in which we can make choices, or we choose to make choices that either leap us out of that safe, sterile box or just creep out of that safe, sterile box. When those choices are in front of us, someone said to me with one of the interviews that I made, that I did, and I think it was, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to remember this. I'll remember it. I'll come back to this. But the quote was, not making a choice is a choice. there's going to be times that we can make those choices outside of our safe, sterile box. And when we do, embrace them and savor it and be aware of how you feel after you've done it. And then I'm just going to love Lily and be proud of her and encourage her